The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense latest intelligence update on Ukraine, October 30, 2023. A Russian private military company called Boers Battalion, part of the Reddit private military company, is recruiting women into combat roles in Ukraine for the first time. This includes roles as snipers and drone operators. Reddit is likely directly sponsored by Russia's main intelligence directorate. In March 2023, Russia said only around 0.3% of its forces in Ukraine were women, mostly in medical and food service roles. It's unclear if the Russian military will also open up more combat roles to women. There is historical precedent for Russian Soviet female combat troops, including snipers, in World War II. Ukraine's Armed Forces General Staff Update. Day 614 of Russia's attempted full-scale invasion of Ukraine continues. Russia conducted numerous missile, air, and artillery strikes across Ukraine, damaging civilian infrastructure. 12 Shahed drones, 2 Kh-59 missiles, and 4 Iskander missiles were used. Ukraine shot down all drones and 2 missiles. Fighting remains active in eastern and southern Ukraine. No major changes on other axes. Russia continues attacks and sabotage near borders with Ukraine. Over 10 settlements shelled from Russia. Russia conducted unsuccessful assaults near Sinkivka, Kharkiv region. Over 10 settlements shelled. No Russian offensive operations near Lyman, but air and artillery strikes continued. Russia made unsuccessful attempts to retake lost ground near Klishchivka, Donetsk. Over 10 settlements shelled. Russia conducted failed attacks near Avdiivka, Donetsk. Air and artillery strikes across the region. Russia launched failed attacks near Marinka and Novomykhailivka, Donetsk. Over 10 settlements shelled. Russia made failed attacks near Staromayorsky, Donetsk. Air and artillery strikes continued. No Russian ground attacks near Zaporizhzhia, but air and artillery strikes continued. Air and artillery strikes by Russia across Kherson region. Ukraine continues offensive operations in southern and eastern Ukraine, inflicting losses on Russia. Ukraine conducted airstrikes on Russian forces in air defense. Missile troops also struck various Russian assets. The Institute for the Study of War Russian Offensive Campaign Assessment. Russian officials reported suppressing anti-Semitic riots in Makhachkala, Dagestan, on October 30th. Over 150 rioters participated, 60 were detained. The riots damaged Makhachkala airport and injured at least 9 police officers. Searches for other rioters are ongoing. Dagestan head Sergei Melikov claimed the riots were instigated by foreign actors and pro-Ukrainian telegram channels. He stated one telegram channel that published rumors about Israeli refugees in Dagestan was managed from Ukraine. Russian authorities claim they used force as a last resort to calm the mob. Rioters allegedly threw stones and police fired guns in the air in response. Melikov claims the riots were an attempt by foreign actors to destabilize Dagestan. He alleges the rumors of Israeli refugees arriving were false information intended to provoke unrest. The Institute for the Study of War key takeaways today. A minority of Russian officials directly condemned the rioters and regional authorities in Dagestan for ignoring anti-Semitism, highlighting growing radicalization and factionalism in Russian society, empowered by hyper-nationalist war ideologies. The murder of a Ukrainian family in occupied Volnovakha shows the threatening environment of violence pervading occupied areas. Russian commentators exploited this to falsely accuse Ukraine of stoking interethnic tensions. Ukrainian forces made advances near Bakhmut and western Zaporizhzhia on October 30th, despite attritional frontal assaults by Russian Storm Z units filled with prisoner recruits. At the Beijing Shangshan Forum, Russian Defense Minister Shoigu highlighted the allegedly cooperative Russia-China relationship. Russian offensive operations occurred along the Kupiansk-Svatov-Kremina line, near Avdiivka, west-southwest of Donetsk city, along the Donetsk-Zaporizhzhia border, and in western Zaporizhzhia on October 30th, with Russian advances in some areas. Ukraine Matters Update. There are challenges for Ukraine on multiple fronts. The war itself as Russia throws everything at Bakhmut, and politically with EU aid being stalled by Hungary and Slovakia. The gap between European leaders' rhetoric about supporting Ukraine and the lack of actual weapons and ammunition being provided. Europe is failing to build up its defenses. Estimates the Russian force in the Bakhmut direction numbers around 100,000 personnel, 1,800 armored vehicles, and 600 tanks.